Man picks up a lost dog in pajamas before making a tough decision about its fate. Picking up a lost dog means taking on a lot of responsibility. To find the pooch's owners often requires putting up signs, calling numbers on tags, posting online, and maybe even housing the fella for a few nights. Making sure the dog and those who love him are happy makes it all worth it. One Tacoma, Washington resident pulled over to the side of the road to pick up a lost dog who oddly was wearing a set of blue pajamas. While the man searched diligently for the owner, the dog's curious behavior forced him to make a tough call about the canine's fate. Christopher Goldsmith assumed it would be just another mundane day in Washington. He hopped in his electric blue pickup truck in hopes of carrying on his merry way to work. His drive started out as any other. But the Army veteran and founder of High Ground Veterans was stopped in his tracks when he saw a small animal scamper past his vehicle. Oddly, the animal appeared to be wearing clothes. It was a sight that bewildered him. Chris pulled over and slammed his truck into park, his eyes not leaving what turned out to be a disoriented little dog in powder blue PJs. Upon approaching the pup, it was clear the furball was nervous, but nevertheless interested in Chris's help. A confused Chris picked up the pooch, who turned out to be a docile angel, and brought him to the safety of his truck. The two stared at each other for a moment before Chris whipped up a makeshift leash for the camel-colored dog out of a parachute cord. Hoping to find the dog's owner, Chris let the dog lead the way on an hours-long, aimless walk. "We probably walked a mile in circles," Chris said. He didn't seem to recognize any house or make any attempt to run up on anyone's front porch. After a failed mission, they headed back to Chris's truck. When the dog, now more comfortable, nuzzled up to his new hero, Chris knew he had no choice but to take the dog to work. He couldn't deny he was looking forward to having an office buddy. Before taking the dog into the office, Chris called the number on the dog's rabies vaccine tag to see if he could obtain any information on who the lonely mutt must belong to. He found out that the mongrel was just 8 months old and adorably named Frosting. Though the company promised it would contact Frosting's owners, it simply couldn't give Chris any confidential information, so all the duo could do then was wait and tweet. Chris thought that perhaps the internet could help locate Frosting's owner. A cocky Chris was nearly positive that he'd get a speedy Twitter response to his explanatory tweet. But alas, goose egg. He wrote that he'd hold the dog until noon when nearby animal shelters opened their doors. Until then, Frosting would spend the day in Chris's office. Soon enough, Chris realized that Frosting was a very good boy, but a clingy good boy. He wouldn't allow any space between him and Chris, always ecstatically sprawling out on his feet or in his lap, which made work sort of difficult. "I tried to use my standing desk and he would stand up and put his paws on me," Chris said of his new buddy. As it turned out, he and his wife had coincidentally planned to adopt a dog just a month later. "We were looking for a small dog, a dachshund, who would be easy to travel with," Chris said. So as he started thinking about the possibility of nobody coming to claim sweet little Frosting, the more he liked the idea. At the time, Chris was staying at a summer rental property that was strict about its no dogs policy. So Frosting had to spend that first night at Chris's friend's house. Frosting, understandably, did not enjoy being ripped away from his new adopted dad. "This dog is very, very, very bonded with me," Chris explained. "As soon as I left, he was glued to the window, looking to see where I went. And in the morning, he was super excited to see me." Frosting surely didn't understand Chris would only be gone for a few measly hours. Still, Chris had to admit that Frosting's separation anxiety was cute, and that he too missed the pooch that night. Considering their newfound connection, there's no doubt that Chris was more than elated when a week passed without anyone claiming poor Frosting. "My wife is already attached to the dog. She might die of a broken heart if we couldn't keep him," said Christopher. Though he joked about his smitten spouse, he couldn't imagine letting go of his new friend. He dreaded having to return the pooch. The curious case of Frosting was a bizarre one. Where were his owners? Why hadn't anyone contacted Chris? Why was Frosting wearing suspiciously clean pajamas when Chris found him? Though there were questions, Chris no longer cared for the answers. "He's nice, quiet, and well-behaved. Seems like he'll be the perfect office dog," Chris happily said. It looked like the Washington resident and his giddy wife were set on adopting the pupper who seemingly appeared out of thin air. They felt that the name Frosting was still a good fit for the doggo, especially considering the good boy was nearly sweet enough to eat. Together, Chris and his wife bought Frosting a new tag to commemorate his gleeful homecoming. Chris knew the strange encounter with Frosting was a gift, and fate must have had something to do with it. He and his wife never had to go pick out a dog because, in reality, Frosting picked them.